Hello and welcome to the Cubbears fan report for 2025. My first one of 2025. It's January 24th, 2025. I have not done a YouTube video since the Bears fired Matt Eberflus. I was broadcasting about why they should fire Matt Eberflus, and while I did it, they did it. So I had to do a second video to explain that they did in fact fire Matt Eberflus. Well, today I'm proud to announce that the Bears got their guy. And I didn't want to spend a lot of time speculating because I had ideas on who they should hire. But the top consensus pick was Ben Johnson, and the Bears did it. I was playing poker. I got a notification that Ben Johnson was talking to the Raiders, and that just didn't make sense to me because the Raiders don't have a quarterback. The Bears do. The Bears are not in a complete rebuild. They got to add some parts. They neglected to do that last season. They need to build the line. Ben Johnson's admitted to that, and Ryan Poles is on board with them. They're going to work together, and they're going to get it right. And I think Ben Johnson is the right guy. Ben Johnson has an interesting resume, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. He played as a reserve quarterback at University of North Carolina behind T.J. Yates, who did a little bit for Houston, had a playoff appearance, and then we don't know what happened to Ben Johnson, so I had to look it up. And he started out as a software developer. He's a smart guy. He used his education for a year before becoming a graduate assistant. He worked under John Shoup, a former Bears offensive coordinator, who said, make the same things look different, make different things look the same. And that has instilled his philosophy. And he put it to work. He also became a tight ends coach and also worked at Boston College, where they just missed each other, he and Ryan Poles, but they have similar influences with that Boston College connection. And then he became an assistant coach at Miami as a graduate assistant. He also did a quality control stint at Miami, and then later he did it under Dan Campbell. And he eventually switched to tight ends coach and followed Dan Campbell to Detroit, where he eventually became the quarterback's coach and eventually the offensive coordinator. As an offensive coordinator, he was the guy in charge. He was not working under somebody. He was the man who employed his philosophy and put it together, and they scored over 30 points in, I think, 8 games. And a lot of games last year, he was the driving force. And everybody's wondering, why didn't he take the job last year or take a job somewhere else last year? Because people wanted you. North Carolina wanted him back and to take over, but he said he wasn't ready to jump up. And that's interesting insight because a lot of coordinators don't make it. The Bears just finished with Matt Eberflus, who was a coordinator, and Matt Nagy didn't work out well as a coordinator under Andy Reid. But the problem with Matt Nagy is, how much of a coordinator was he? That was Andy Reid's offense, and he ran the show. People did not want Eric Bieniemy, and he has not been able to get a job as the head coach after working under Andy Reid. Matt Nagy's back under Andy Reid, but it's really Andy Reid's show. What I like about this is going to be Ben Johnson's show. And the nice thing about having an offensive coach as your head coach, you don't have to worry about him getting recruited elsewhere because he is the head coach. He can't go to another team. He's got to stay with the Bears unless the Bears no longer want him. The Bears, like I said, Matt Eberflus, I thought was a good coordinator. He built the defense, but he couldn't run the big picture. He couldn't call the timeouts. He couldn't get replay right. There's a lot of things he could not do. So, I apologize. I'm fighting off a head cold, but I'm still doing this podcast or this YouTube. I don't know if is it a podcast? I don't know. It sounds like a podcast, but it was a good pick for the Bears. Big reason Luke Getsy didn't work out is I think he was pretty much whatever Aaron Rodgers wanted. It was Aaron Rodgers' show, and he was just riding the coattails of Luke Getsy. Other coaches have said who are defensive-minded, you do well, and then your offensive coordinator leads, and then you have to go find another offensive coordinator. There goes your offense. The Bears have their offense, and it's going to hurt Detroit, and he's happy to stay in the division. Detroit also lost Aaron Glenn, so they're going to need to hire 2 coordinators because Dan Campbell is not a coordinator guy. He's not an X's and O's guy. He's a character guy, and he's a great head coach. And Ben acknowledges how good he was, and that's why the team was able to put together wins. It's the big picture that he was able to do that Matt Eberflus could not do. I was thinking the Bears should hire somebody with previous head coaching experience like a Mike Vrabel, but he wanted to go to New England. And I was thinking maybe Ron Rivera would be a good choice. Mike McCarthy, I wasn't real sure about, but I thought he was going to be better than Matt Eberflus. But Mike McCarthy could not win the big game at Dallas, and he had a good roster, but he did develop quarterbacks. This will be Ben Johnson's attempts to put his stamp on the team, and I expect big things from the Bears in the years to come. I expect the Bears to build that offensive line. That was really the shortcoming on the roster. The Bears got a lot of playmakers. You just need an offensive line in order to make it work. And he's going to sit down and go over tape, and he and the quarterback, Williams, are going to figure it all out. And then I expect big stuff. Dave Wannstedt used to talk about how he would do well, and then his offensive coordinator would go get a head coaching job somewhere else. So that was the problem that he had. And I like Wannstedt as a. I didn't want Wannstedt to be the head coach, but I think he is a good guy to listen to on the radio. And I think this is going to be a win for the Bears. I think this is going to be one of the best hires out there. I think this is like a Maffei hire, and a lot of other guys who have been successful on offense. I think it was Adam Gase who left the Bears, but I think his success was all about being under the great quarterback Manning, and it wasn't his work, it was Manning's work that made him good. And that's why Adam Gase got a job, but he was successful because he had the quarterback. Now, people are going to wonder that about Ben Johnson because he's going to build Williams up, and they're going to get together and they're going to get on the same page. I like the fact that he's willing to tailor his offense to the guys that he's got. And he had a great offensive line in Detroit, and the Bears are going to have to develop a great offensive line, and I think that's going to be a priority in the year to come. Hopefully they sign some big guys using free agency and draft, and they get an end opposite Sweat, and so they can form the pressure from both sides. They're going to build this team. I think he's going to be a successful hire. This is the Cubbears Fan Report. Please like and subscribe. You haven't seen me in a couple months. I haven't done anything since the day after Thanksgiving, and I'll be back to report on the Cubs because spring training's around the corner. So we'll have to talk about the Cubs too because the Cubs have made some changes. Cubbear Fan Report. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.